Hi, I'm Steve. I have an eidetic memory. Hope you enjoyed my MCU Phase 2 videos, but now it's time for something different. Let's make fun of 20th Century Fox's take on X-Men for a while. Here's a perfect recollection of Logan. Logan begins with Logan taking a nap because he's old and it's past 4 in the afternoon. The year is 2029 and Logan is no longer an X-person, but has found gainful employment in Phoenix, Arizona, transporting former cattle company CEOs to jail for the new vegan overlords. Oh, it's coming. After Logan gets a to-go bag from the hospital because he couldn't finish all his medicine, Tyler Durden gets in his car and gives him one of his soap business cards. But because Logan obviously doesn't shower anymore, he tells Tyler to fuck off, but because he's Canadian, he says sorry and lets him back in. Later, Logan comes home to his dirt factory and meets up with Powder, finally confirming a shared universe with the 1995 classic. So it seems like the lightning bolt at the end of that movie was actually Storm taking Powder to the Xavier School. Speaking of Xavier, he lives in an old thing and is practicing to fulfill his lifelong dream of being a fast food commercial voiceover artist.
The new Quesalupa from Taco Bell!
Wolverine is fed up with Xavier's pipe dream and assaults him, but just this second marks the 60th year since Xavier has had sex, which makes him the fabled double wizard, and he uses his newfound magical powers to cast Spicy Vibrate, an 8th level convocation spell. After they both smoke a cigarette, Logan says Betty bye to the professor and turns on his glowy star nightlights so the monsters can't get him. Logan gets a suspicious ride request, but is desperate for fares, so he checks it out. Turns out his suspicions were right, because a lady wants him to drive her and 8-year-old Greta Thunberg to North Dakota, which is like at least a 2-hour drive from Phoenix, and initially Logan is hesitant, but she says she's willing to pay standard Uber rate.
I'll give you $50,000.
So he accepts and goes back home to tell Powder and Charles about the job. The next morning, Logan returns to the motel to discover that why the crazy lady was in such a hurry was that it had already been 6 days since she watched that weird VHS tape. Logan goes back home, again, and he talks to Powder, again. Powder finds a backpack full of really big bouncy balls in the limo's trunk, but they smell like farts. Logan assures Powder it wasn't him, so they spend 2 minutes looking around for who dealt it, discovering that little Thunberg, whose real name is Laura, stowed away in the limo and was busting ass, like, the whole time. Soapboy from earlier shows up with every enemy from Cyberpunk 2077 and says he's looking for Laura because she's some kind of mutant. But man, that's not a very nice thing to say about a little girl, no matter how frighteningly, nauseatingly ugly she is. Just rude. The little freak does what freaking freaks do and freaks out on the metal arm freaks for calling her a freak. Logan drives all crazy to get her off the roof because he thinks it's Krampus again, but she manages to climb in safely with Charles. Logan decides he and Laura need to get to know each other a little bit before the road trip, so he reenacts some scenes from his favorite movies like Mad Max, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and The Day My Dad Got Arrested. Next, Charles and Logan are going through Crazy Lady's phone to see if there are any nudes, when they find a video that explains that Laura is an escaped mental patient from a secret Mexico City hospital where they test new flavors of Jell-O and also teach them MMA for some reason. The place is extra cruel because the only movie they have for kids to watch is Vanilla Sky, which produces many predictable results. Logan's pretty sure that Bots, an amputee podcast, is tracking them. They are. And drops off the limo to the cast of Sons of Anarchy gay porn parody Lawless Penis Babies 2. While he's emptying the car, he figures out that Charles hasn't been taking his Dr. Mario gummy vitamins. Logan goes back to the casino he dropped Laura and Charles off at, hoping they'd hit it big at the slots. They didn't, and is surprised to find everyone is doing the mannequin challenge. Remember 2016? Ever the 1860s boomer, Logan is furious to see people having fun in a way he doesn't understand and goes on a murder rampage, then uses his Cajun injector on Charles for extra flavor. The trio flee the casino before Logan's Karen moment ends up on WorldStar. We're reminded of just how far in the future this film takes place when the group comes upon a lovely family of simple auto horse farmers, letting their robo-flock graze on asphalt. After helping them push their truck out of a ditch, which the father, Will, insists didn't end up there as a result of a drunk driving accident. Sure, Will, I bet you don't remember trying to show those ER doctors how to do karate either, huh? Will's wife, Catherine, invites the three to dinner. Laura loads up on corn, she's gonna pay for that later, And after dinner, the water gets shut off, so Will walks with Logan to turn it back on, and they run into the culprits, Bill Pullman and his new band, the Federal Tax Incentives. They try to intimidate Will with a gun, but Logan does his best Dark Knight Returns impression, and they skedaddle. Charles makes a confessional to a figure he thinks is Logan, but it turns out it's actually a genetically modified organism called X-24 that the Reavers cooked up in a lab by crossing Wolverine's DNA with Joe Rogan's, and he kills Charles and the Munsons, then kidnaps Laura. Logan fights Low Rogan and just about bites it before being saved by Will. I'd like to see what Mothers Against Drunk Driving has to say about this hero. Will's aim is off a bit on account of the hooch, but he gets the job done all the same. Logan, Laura, and Charles, who is now going by Dead Charles, escape, but Logan comes down with the vid, so he has to go see the doctor for some horse paste. No, not that kind. This kind. Man likes eating prescription strength glue. Who am I to judge? I like anime. Logan loads up on hoof juice, tucks in Chuck, and hits the road with Laura again. The pair make it to North Dakota, the Morth Dakota, where they find Laura's fellow freaks, additional children. After a couple of days, the kids leave for Canada, because in 2029 they have a no extradition relationship with assholes. But Laura forgets her backpack, and Logan runs after her to return it. He claws his way through Canadian Border Patrol, but Low Rogan shows up and just can't resist telling Logan about his newest holistic medicine, a big fucking branch through your liver. It makes Logan feel great, but he dies so he doesn't have to pay child support for Laura. The kids bury the once proud X-Man, and Laura throws one last bit of shade at Logan.
Now you run up home to your mother.
Before desecrating his grave. Disrespectful ass kids. And is practicing to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a fast food commercial voiceover artist. What the fuck?